So you work from home, you convinced your employer to let you keep working from home, and you think that's a great idea. Well, guess what? You might have opened up a can of worms and did something that you can't put the genie back in the bottle. There's an article from Fortune about how remote work could be the reason you don't have a job in 10 years. And it might not even be 10 years. And we've talked about this before on the channel, but here's how it works. You made an argument to your boss that says, look, I can do the same work at home. Why do I need to come to the office? There's no benefit to have me in the office. All I'm doing is driving in to sit in front of the same computer that I could sit in front of at home. So you basically convinced your boss that they don't need the people in the office. And the boss is thinking, well, if that's true, then they could be anywhere. Why do I need to have them even in my state or in my area? In fact, the first thing that'll happen is your boss might find that there's employees in different parts of the country that work cheaper because the cost of living isn't as high. If you're in Southern California or Southern Florida or New York or some of the high cost of living states where people get paid more because of the cost of living is higher, the boss might say, well, the next time that I onboard somebody, maybe I'll find somebody who lives in Indiana. People are just as good there. Maybe somebody who lives in Oklahoma, Iowa, right? And the cost of living is less, so maybe their income could be less. And they work that way for a while, and then they might find that, well, guess what? There's people who are educated, that are highly insightful, that are in other countries. If we're working remote, what does it matter if you're down the street, other side of the country, or other side of the world? There are full-time employees in countries like the Philippines, in countries like India, Sri Lanka, South America, that work 40 hours a week, full-time, for like $150 a week, $200 a week. And for them, that's a high income. That's more than they can make in their home country. It's double. And these are college educated. They can do programming, customer service, design work, coding, engineering work, document preparation, all kinds of highly skilled work. Your employer may not be aware of this, but if you make it so that they're not getting the benefit of having employees right in front of them where they can observe their work, have direct conversations with them. One of the advantages for an employer, for a boss, is if you have all your people right there, if they think of something they want to talk to you, you're right there. They can engage with you. They don't have to get you on the phone, or they don't have to arrange a call. There was a management strategy from back in the 80s. It was called MWBA, Management by Walking Around. And management by walking around was being right there with the troops, being on the front lines, being part of it, rolling up your sleeves, helping people with their efforts, being kind of shoulder to shoulder with your staff, right? And having that ability adds value to a company. It adds efficiency. It adds production to a company. If your people are remote anyways, then you don't have that. You lose that layer of advantage. So if that's the case, if you don't have that anyways, why not have the people be farther away, especially if it's a lot cheaper? Look, there's some states where just to get an entry-level person, you have to pay $30 or $40 an hour. There's some states that it costs $15 or $20 an hour. That's half price for the same quality level of a person. Then you can even go to overseas markets, if the business allows for it, and be 10% of income. So be careful what you wish for. Obviously, working remote is great for an employee, right? You don't have to commute. You don't have to get dressed. You don't have to pay for dry cleaning. You can have your lunch break at home. You can pet your dog. You can do all those things. But you might be introducing an unintended consequence by training and teaching your boss, your employer, that I don't need to have anybody here. I can get rid of some of my rent factor, smaller building, smaller footprint, less overhead, and I can also get people that maybe are elsewhere, as long as they're just as good. Now, they may not fire you to replace you with somebody else, but when it comes time to add more people or to add more resources, they may do it by offshoring, to other places. Even onshoring to cheaper parts of the country might be a strategy. So be careful. Pay attention to your job. See what the vibe that you're picking up on is, and see if it's crucial that they have people there. Because if it is, you want to make sure you add value to your job to make sure you're retained properly. Look, if you're a valuable employee, your boss should be paying you top dollar. But make sure that they know that you're adding big value to your company's margins so that you can increase your value and maybe even ask for a raise.